I'm going to play through the new tutorial. This is the last version for around the time this video is going to be released. There is a new update for a tutorial here, so let's go and try it in here. Balkan Bootcamp, Greece, April 1914. The tutorial that was available before this update was completely different. So I really appreciate Valentin doing this new tutorial because it looks amazing. So let's go. Welcome to Hex of Steel. If this is your first time playing the game, make sure you are playing as the United Kingdom in case you are not already. That could be the case if you decide to host the scenario on your own without clicking on the dedicated tutorial button in the main menu. This guided scenario is loosely inspired by the April 1941 fighting in Greece, but tuned for teaching, not strict history. Two coalitions face off across mountains, rivers, and few vital ports and airfields. One side needs to break through quickly, the other must hold, smart, and trade space for time. You'll practice core skills without getting overwhelmed. By the way, this is the first time I booted this tutorial, so it is going to be a complete new experience for me. I'm thinking about doing a video in the new settings that you have for this new version. Could be a possibility. So here you are going to practice terrain and movement, which is pretty important here. Roads equal speed. Mountain rivers equals attrition. High ground defends better. Cities help you refit. Zones of control, units lock each other in place, cover gaps, and protect flanks. You can check the manual if you so wish, and there is a lot of information. Supply basics, continuing here. Keep routes open, isolated units fight wars and recover slowly. Preparation before assaults, recon or bombard first, then attack. Rotate damaged units to the rear. Simple combined arms. Now this is a good one. Preparation before assaults using bombardment first and then moving your damaged units to the away from the front line. It's a good advice here. Infantry take hold ground, artillery breaks tough hexes, armor exploits, and anti-air discourage raids. Tempo management, push when opportunities open, pause to regroup when cohesion drops. Quick tips from Valentin. If attacking, focus on a narrow sector, cut roads, bridges, and ports, then pocket instead of chasing. If defending, anchor on mountains and rivers, counterattack only to restore the line, and keep a small reserve. For both, fight for objectives you can actually supply. Good luck, Commander. Keep calm, read the tooltips, and you'll do fine. Welcome to the front. Now, take a look at the map. The map is tiny. It's not a big deal. So I think it's going to be very fun. You have different factions here. You have the Greek, you have the Italians, and down here you have the Germans. There's a lot to absorb here, so let's get on with it. Welcome to Hex of Steel. This is a grand strategy wargame where you command land, sea, and air forces. Even if you've never played wargames before, don't worry, we'll guide you step by step so you can learn the basics and start securing victories in no time. Before playing your first scenario, take a moment to explore the game settings, which I have already done. I have adjusted all of these things, but I'm going to continue reading. For the purposes of this video, adjust difficulty, visuals, and optional rules to match your playstyle. By the way, there are plenty of rules and settings in this amazing wargame. The game offers many extra mechanics which may or may not be enabled by default. For the purpose of this tutorial, however, all default important settings are turned on for you to familiarize yourself with them. Settings can only be changed from the main menu. Orientation and basic controls. This is a normal thing. It's part of the tutorial. Zoom in and out, which is doing this, and you continue. The game's map are made of flat top hexagons. There you go. The only truly good hexagons, let's be honest, pointy tops are terrible. Each hex has up to 6 neighbors, which is important for encirclements and maneuver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pure math. There is no unit stacking, and each hex can hold 1 land unit and 1 air unit, never 2 of the same type. There are 2 layers. One is the land layer and the other is the air layer, so you cannot stack 2 infantry in the same hex. Each scenario has a clear goals: capture victory points, hold ground, or destroy enemy forces. Check the briefing and objectives panel to always know what's required for victory. Most scenarios, around 90%, have no strict turn limit, so you are free to plan at your own pace. You'll never be penalized for taking your time, but swift victories are rewarded. The terrain affects movement and combat. Forest, river, hills, marshes, and roads all play a role in how battles unfold. Now, it's nice to have this tutorial in-game for those that obviously are going to overlook the manual, which comes in a PDF on either the Steam page or the game files. I don't know about the mobile version, but it is always important to read it. So the terrain is important, as always in every single wargame. You have the forests. For example, here we have a hex that shows the... Let me use the pen here because I love it. Here we have a hex that has the river scheme. Let us go as well to the forest. Look at this one. This one here. By the way, this one is new. I haven't seen this one before. This is a plain. This is a mountain or a hill. This is a road. And let me see if I can see another one. This is a town. This is a hex with railroads. This is an airfield. Good. There's also the marshes and forests. And there you go. Let me see if I can find one marsh, because here, what's the marsh one? There you go. This is a marsh one. This is the marsh. This one here. And we have the forest, which is this one. Now, there are 2 types of forests. We have a forest that is like this, which is thin forest, and we have thick forest, such as this one. The terrain battle modifiers is a percentage, and the damage will be reduced by that number. A tile with a terrain modifier of 50% will reduce the incoming damage by 50%. All information regarding a tile can be found on the tile information window, which is always visible on the UI, unless you have disabled it. Now, good thing that you can move this thing. Ooh, it's quite buggy. There you go. Interesting, but buggy. Okay. I don't know if Valentin is going to look at this video, but this thing is bugged. Whatever. So let's go and continue here. So Evidently, when you are on something inside a hex that is open like a plane, you won't have any percentage that is going to protect you. Instead, if you are inside buildings, you are going to be protected eventually, or in mountains, so on and so forth. So bad weather can ground planes, slow troops, and reduce visibility. Bad weather is a fact here because when you have planes and you want to bombard one hex and there is a storm or there's snow, the planes are not going to be able to do that. Always factor in current and upcoming weather when planning. Weather is located up in here. You can see that it says current weather, and there is going to be a forecast for the next turns. By the way, I think this as well is new because before you only had the possibility to have weather forecast for at least the next 3 turns. The forecast is always available for several turns ahead, with accuracy decreasing the further you look. Accuracy for your information here is that percentage, but as it says here, it decreases further you look. So the accuracy, it could say that in turn 7 is going to be 50% clear, but it could be that it will not be like that. So then you have units and their types. Beautiful. Here we have 3 types of units. This is good because he have placed different types of units for our understanding. The game has 10 main unit types. Infantry, which is this one down here. Artillery, which is this one here. Tanks, this one here. Anti-tank. Let me find one anti-tank here if it's possible. I would say that these are anti-air. And then we have fighters, tactical bombers, strategic bombers, ships, and buildings. Ships are eventually these ones here. The counters for ships are rounded. This is not a ship. This is a naval convoy route, by the way. So, infantry will make up the bulk of your army, often more than half of your forces. That's pretty straightforward. They are cheap, quick to deploy, and perform well in rough terrain such as forests, cities, and hills. So this counters here with small infantry. You can see that it says infantry, but you know what this is. They are very dynamic. You can motorize them for increased mobility or mechanize them for extra firepower and armor protection. Mechanized, read mechanized as putting them on a armored vehicle. Artillery, in the case of this unit here, that is basically a ordnance QF 25 pounder. This one here comes in 2 types: regular field guns and self-propelled guns, which are the SPGs. The field guns are cheaper but carry more ammunition than the SPGs. Always fire artillery before attacking with other units to weaken the enemy. Oh, I just missed. I think I'm missing a lot. No. Here we go. So artillery attacks cause attrition, reducing enemy ammunition and fuel randomly and lowering entrenchment. For example, this unit here has entrenchment. Entrenchment is located, it is not located here, but down here. I'm going to show you there. That thing is entrenchment, and it has a maximum of 3. I think it is going to be explained here, but I'm just skipping ahead. because I already know the game. So if you hit something with an attack with your artillery, you're going to de-entrench it. Heavy artillery cannot move and fire in the same turn. So plan your front lines accordingly. And artillery units will provide supportive fire in defense. So because this supportive fire mechanic is important to understand. You have this guy here and an infantry here. If it happens to be another enemy counter here that attacks you, the artillery here is going to attack it as well if it's in range and adjacent to your infantry. Tanks excel. Tanks are here, like this one. This is a Matilda 2. They excel in open terrain, like open fields and plains, basically, breaking through enemy lines and crushing exposed infantry or guns. They perform poorly in urban areas and forests, evidently because it's difficult for the tank to move into the tiny, narrow roads and also into the forest. So don't put the tanks in the forest. You can do it, but it's not advised. So they perform poorly in urban and forests. Urban, read it as cities and villages. Tanks can be used as breakthrough weapons or for supporting infantry. Anti-tank, which I am a little bit surprised here that we cannot see one of those anti-tank weapons. This is an AA, as I said before, including this one, which is the QF 3.7-inch AA gun. But anti-tank units are designed to destroy enemy armored forces, and they are less effective against other target types. Anti-tank units will provide supportive fire. Anti-air, which is this one that is in the airfield here. Oh, we have planes as well. Beautiful. We have one fighter super marine Spitfire, and we have a Bristol Viewfighter. I think this is a bomber, if I'm not mistaken. Fighter squadron. Okay, so anti-air protect friendly ground forces by firing at attacking aircraft. So if an enemy aircraft approaches the airfield here in this small town here, which don't have a name because it is fictitious, then it is going to do supportive fire against that. Some have excellent anti-tank performance and can be used in that role if needed. Anti-air units will provide supportive fire in defense. Fighters, in the case of this one here, are your main air superiority units and will often make up half your air force. These are like the infantry of the planes. They can escort bombers, which are like the tanks or the artillery, strafe enemy ground units, or carry bombs or rockets for extra ground attack capabilities. This icon, you can see this blue little man, which is updated. This one here is telling us that there is an infantry unit down this airplane. They are now continuing with the fighters, the airplanes. They are the only aircraft that can engage enemy planes, and all aircraft must be on a tile adjacent to a friendly airfield to receive supplies. So you cannot refuel an airplane if you're not in the airport. The tactical bombers, which this is not the one. We have perhaps no other tactical bombers here, but tactical bombers specialize in attacking ground or naval targets. They also could be equipped with torpedoes, and they are vulnerable to fighters, so provide escorts to avoid the losses of those. They cannot engage other planes, just ground targets. All aircraft must be on a tile adjacent to a friendly airfield to receive supplies or repairs. Now that we are here, I'm going to ask you, please subscribe, but most important, I would like to ask you to support me and buy me a coffee if you can, but always, if you haven't been subscribed, do it right now. Go and click that button because that button is completely free. Let's continue with the video. The strategic bombers are used to destroy enemy cities, infrastructure, and economy. They can target both enemy units and tiles. While they often have decent air defenses, they should still be escorted. They cannot engage other planes and must be on a tile adjacent to a friendly airfield to receive fuel, refuel, or supplies. Now let's go to the ships down here. Ships, cruisers, battleships, and aircraft carriers, light cruisers, destroyers, submarines. Those are the options that we have in Hex of Steel. Destroyers are cheap, good at hunting submarines, and can deploy naval mines. The destroyers are the submarine hunters, and light cruisers carry strong anti-air defenses. For example, here we have a class carrier and a destroyer and a battle cruiser. Light cruiser, which is not in here, just a destroyer. But the light cruiser carries strong anti-air defenses, while heavier ships excel at ship-to-ship combat or bombarding shorelines before an invasion. This is a battle cruiser that is good bombarding shores and attacking other ships. If you want to get supplies with this one, you must be located adjacent to a friendly harbor or from a supply ship. There you have the submarine here. And here we have, well, actually, this is not, we cannot see the Greeks here. Buildings. Let's talk about buildings here. Usually constructed by engineers. Once purchased, you can deploy them near any friendly engineer unit not in contact with the enemy. This building is not that you are going to buy a building and you're going to build a building, so to speak. It means that you can build bunkers, or you can build, for example, minefields, bridges and stuff. So once purchased, you can deploy near any friendly engineer unit that is not in contact with the enemy. So don't get confused in here. Use coastal batteries to deter enemy ships, which you can also do. You can place coastal batteries, bunkers and minefields to slow enemy advances, and factories or refineries to boost your economy. Like, for example, here we have a factory here. Unit stats. Learn to read attack and defense values, movement range, and special abilities. Knowing your units means knowing how to use them effectively. Right-click a unit to view its history and kill record. By the way, if you want to read the attack, this is the attack, which is the attack that it does to soft targets, which are targets that are not armored, and infantry units like person-like targets. Then you have this one, which is the damage that it does to armored units. And this one is, if the third one from left to right indicates if it has any capacity to shoot at the upper layer, which is the air. This one here, obviously, because it's a plane. But this one here has a 25, being an anti-air, and this one, heavy anti-air, has a 35 against upper level counters. Now, it says that movement range, it talks about that. Movement range is the green number. It is the amount of hexes the unit can move. If you hover over this one, you see red. This is the area that is going to be affecting the bombardment. And obviously, the other number, the other number here, number 2, the orange one, is the range. If you right-click, you're going to see the history, in which you're going to see experience and rank. All units have 2 action points per turn. Action points is not movement points. Moving is costing as if it's an action point, and attacking costs another action point. Healing or repairing cost double. So you can either move and attack, attack and move, or repair or heal. Resupplying can only be done if the unit has not moved or attacked during the turn. For example, I click this unit and I can resupply, but it's grayed out here, only if it has not moved and it has access, as if you see here, this yellow line, to a source of supply. The movement points determine how far a unit can move in a single turn. This unit can move 4 tiles. Now, I'm going to talk about this because it's telling here different tiles have different movement costs. Roads cost 1 point, while forests cost more. So if you understand that moving uses 1 action point, and if I select the second light infantry division, it says that I can move 4. But the forest uses 3 of those movement points. So if I move here, I have depleted my ability to move into the fields and to move into the thin forest because both of them cost 2. Movement range is the maximum distance a unit can travel before needing resupply. Movement points determine how far it can move in a single turn, while movement range covers its total operation endurance. Health points are this thing here. It is 100, 100, 100, and here 100. That number is the health points, representing the ability to sustain damage, and when it reaches 0, it is destroyed. Armor reduces incoming damage. Each point of armor blocks 1 point of damage. For example, here, you cannot see the armor on the counter, but you can see it up down in here, which says the symbol of the shield, and it says 61. Some units, such as infantry, apply armor differently when attacking, so not all armor is counter against them. But most of them don't even have armor. Attack range is measured in hexes and determines how far a unit can target and strike another unit, which is the orange number. The ammunition, a unit can attack as many times as it has ammunition. If I click the tank, you can see that it says down here 8 of 8 ammunition. Infantry says 15 of 15, and the artillery 8 of 8, so on and so forth. A unit with 10 ammunition can perform 10 attacks before needing a resupply. Resupply appears here with a single button. Soft damage, as I was talking about, which is this thing here, soft attack, is used when attacking unarmored targets. The hard damage when used when attacking armored targets, and air damage, what it says. Morale is an optional mechanic. Morale is the bar here. Green bar means super morale, then you have gray bar, which is normal, you have then yellow bar, which is low morale, and red bar, which means out of morale. It is from 0 to 100 and it's color coded: red for low, green for high. That's what I just explained. Morale affects both the damage a unit deals and the point at which it will retreat. Morale can be gained when getting supplies, getting a positive outcome from battle, or when capturing a victory point. Victory points. This is a normal victory point. The gold ones are important victory points, and there are silver ones. Let me see if I can find one. No, we don't see any silver one here. But there's a silver one as well. Morale can be gained, we talked about this, and movement. You can select a unit by clicking on it and unselect it by clicking on it again, like this. Or right-clicking on an empty space. You can just click the empty space, right-clicking the empty space like this. but I prefer to just tap the unit like this. The Fog of War, we all know what is this. These are the tiles that are covered with Fog of War, hides enemy positions, and use scout units, which we don't have here, I believe. The scout units are marked with an I, which I think I'm going to show you here, if it's possible. These are the engineer units, the one that has an inverted. Now, this is not, usually people think that this is an E, but this is a bridge, by the way. So you have, where are the scout units? We see scout units have this, in the statistics, has visibility. So should be seeing one of those here. Pretty weird that we don't see those, but those are the scout units, by the way. Those are the ones that move very quickly, and they can unhide the places where we see the fog of war. Transportation, use trains. That's why we have tiles with railways, aircraft. You can carry troops with aircraft. There are paratroopers as well. To get in train, the selected unit must be on an urban tile like this and adjacent to a railroad. But we don't have trains here. You can then press the load and unload button. This is the same if you want to put this unit in the sea. So you just put them on this marine division inside these boats by clicking here on load and load swapping thing. You can load it on trains as well. Then to get into a transport ship, the unit must be on a harbor tile adjacent to a sea tile. As for trains, you just have to press load button on the UI afterwards. Basically, for example, we don't see the train here, but if I click this one and do this, it is now loaded on the train, and we can move through the actual line of railroads that we see here. It's pretty neat, by the way. To get into a transport plane, only paratrooper units, you must place the unit on an empty allied controlled airfield and press the load and unload button. Manpower, which is up in here, you can see here manpower. It says that we have 75k ground forces, 2k air forces, and 12k naval forces. Fielded 89k and available 91. It says that this adds a natural limit to army size and makes combat losses more impactful. The manpower summary can be brought up by hovering over the manpower amount on the UI here. Then we have the upkeep, which is whatever you see down here in the coins here, income summary, but there's the upkeep summary is telling us how much of those silhouettes that you're seeing there, that it is completely logical what they represent, and it's telling us that each of those are getting this amount of upkeep from each. Like, for example, tanks, they take 8 from the upkeep. Units in the reserve will see their upkeep halved, while units in production have no upkeep at all. The upkeep summary can be brought up by hovering here. The purchasing units. Spend funds to buy reinforcement. Choose the right mix of infantry, armor, and air support to match your strategy. Units can be purchased through the store. Here, the one with the cart. I'm going to price Valentin for putting a tank in a cart. It's pretty nice. So purchase a new unit. Okay, it says that we have to purchase a new unit. I'm going to purchase this one. So you click here, this button here. You're going to be spending 50k and you buy it, and you have here the unit, and it says that it's going to be available in 1 turn. The reserve, any unit you purchase will automatically add it here to the reserve, where it can be deployed later. When in the reserve, the upkeep cost is only a fraction of its normal cost, so it's not costing too much here. Let's see if it's basically not costing us anything here. Units in the reserve usually are not available for deployment right away, and This is indicated under slot on the UI amount of turns left before available for deployment. Production time is optional. Each unit has a specific production time based on its type and complexity. That is this number up in here. You can view the production time for each unit in the store menu. The store menu also gives you an indication on the production time. I think it's I don't see where it says. There you go. I think production time. It's going to be this one. No, that's the upkeep. Production time is the hourglass. One turn here. Good. Unit modifications. Upgrade or downgrade units to keep them effective. Upgrades can only be made within the same category. The process sends the unit to reserve for a few rounds. I'm going to show you this. Select a unit on the map or in reserve and press the upgrade button on the UI. You could either do it from this one or from the one that is here. For example, I want to upgrade this unit. I'm just going to click this one and click here on redeploy the unit. This will be sent back to the reserve. Yes, it will cost. And then you're going to be able to do here, for example, an upgrade. Now, I would point out here that it says in the tutorial, select a unit on the map and press the upgrade button. It is a little bit misleading because it's not telling us how to do it. Basically, you do it how I just explained. So you do this and then you can upgrade this unit. It is over here. And for example, you see that this one is a light infantry here. So I want to make this unit, for example, mechanized. And it is going to be mechanized. I will have to pay this amount. It's 200 for the mechanized. And if I want to make it mountaineer unit, I will have to pay more. I'm going to update this, and then it is going to take 3 turns for this unit to be able to be deployed again. Now let's talk about the order of battle. You can filter and sort them by cost or type and toggle the auto supplies features. When auto supplies is on, the game automatically resupplies all your units at the start and end of each turn. Turning this on is highly recommended for new players. So you can open the order of battle here. You can do all the stuff that it is saying here. I'm going to say that it is good to use this one. You can go for just infantry units. You can go for just anti-air, whatever you have. Auto resupply all units, which you can also click each one by one in here, which is recommended for new players. As Valentin says, sort out by low health if you have been in a battle, and by upkeep cost, so on and so forth. It is a nice tool in here, a nice tool. Next, we have the redeploying units. Redeploying cost a fraction of the unit price and send it to reserve for several turns depending on unit type. A unit can be redeployed by pressing the redeploy button located directly on the unit slot on the UI. Redeploy a unit to a different location. This is the one thing that should have been placed before the explanation of the upgrade, but whatever. Let's go here to, for example, this one. And by the way, this one, the 1st Light Infantry Division, I'm just going to redeploy this. Cost, it is taking 3 turns, and I just wait 3 turns to do that. Transferring units, you can transfer any unit from your reserve or from the order of battle to another player, except enemies at any time. Press the transfer button on the UI to do so. Now, you have, of course, diplomacy here. It shows you different countries here. You can transfer units, such as the units that we have here in the reserve here, and its button, it's this one here with a hand transfer this unit to an ally, and you basically indicate which one you want. As well, you can do it from the order of battle here. I'm going to do it this way, so we can do it from here. You click here, and I'm going to give it to Greece. There you go. Disbanding a unit. Okay, Disband any unit from your reserve at any time. Press disband button on the UI to do so. Disband the unit will offer a partial refund of its cost based on the remaining health of the unit. Disbanding cannot be done at contact with the enemy. Basically, we're going to disband, for example, this one here. So we're going to go for disband, which is this one, or sell the unit, basically. If you're going to get the money here, but if you, for example, want to disband this one, you just click the trash can here. Policies and doctrines, there you go. You spend HQ points to activate them. Policies are here. You spend the HQ points, which are located up in here. This works like the Hearts of Iron style doctrines and policies and stuff. Pick a policy for your choice, and then you can only have one policy active per category. This is the mechanic here. So first thing we're going to do is to get early mobilization, which is going to give more income. By the way, we can do war economy, which will increase income. We have 414 right now, but doing this, or total mobilization is going to deplete all of this, which will increase by 25% the income, and manpower from villages is going to be increased. So basically what I'm going to do is not to spend too much on that because I still have some points. So I'm going to do this one. Okay, so then we have research, which is located in here. You can research depending on the year and stuff like that. Prioritizing one category early may leave others underdeveloped, so choose carefully. Let's, for example, go for this thing here, but you need to go for some of those in between here. By the way, you cannot do it. It just says open. Okay. Diplomacy. You can form your own faction and invite players to join. That is here. And you can, for example, you're the player configuration. You can put yourself with the AI, by the way. You can invite to an alliance. Are you sure you want to invite this player to join your alliance? It will cost you. You can declare war and stuff like that. It's pretty simple but nice, and in a decent level. Funds can be sent directly with commission fee or via convoys, no fee. Send, for example, to Greece. Okay, so basically the recording was cut because I pressed the button that was to stop the recording. Never mind. The simple thing that this thing just taught us is going into the diplomacy. We just made Greece an ally, so that is to send an ally invitation with this button here, and then Germany is now in red because Germany is now our enemy. We just declare war on Germany. That was the instruction that was said in here. Open the diplomacy menu, invite Greece to join your alliance, and declare war on Germany. Just when I was sending them money, that happened. So now it begins the tutorial for the turns and the combat, pretty much. Turns and combat. And this allows us to see our new ally, which is Greece over here. Look at this beautiful unit. We can even see their planes. And there you go. Now we're at war with Germany.